Good day everyone. Today we will be discussing about the chapter 2, methods and used in capturing fishing, prepared by Grifaldi Love A, Nathan Villian V, and Hanayan Marjorie A. Methods and use in capturing fishing that we will be discussing includes Bagnet, Gill Nets, Seine Nets, Filternet, Fike Net, Hoop Net, Pelagic Trawls, Button Trawls, Purse Seines, and pots and traps. Bagnet, as you can see in the picture, is the Setback Net. Is a traditional fishing gear widely used in the coastal area of Bangladesh. It is the second most important fishing gear after gill nets. The Setback Net is a fixed tapering net resembling a trawl net set in the tidal stream by attaching it to hold fast. It has a rectangular mouth capped open by two vertical bamboo posts. The net is held in a fishing position against the current by flinking the extended sides of the net, or what we call wingtips, to hold fast by means of long bamboo poles and steel wires. The hold fast are two wooden sticks embedded some distance apart in the sieve so that the net is parallel to the direction of the current. So, meaning, bagnet fishing is the net fish get voluntarily and get caught. By filtering, they kept open in vertical direction. A bag net has a long vertical wall of netting, often several hundred meters long, running at right angles to the shoreline that is intended to interrupt the natural swim of the fish and direct them along it away from the shore and into a series of traps. Next, we will be talking about gill nets. So, gill nets, they are long wall of webbing hung vertically in water. So, first picture, set gill nets. Set gill nets is get set in water surface, mid-water or at bottom by means of an anchor and floats to provide proper shape. So, set gill nets consist of a single netting wall kept more or less vertical by a float line and a weighted ground line. The net is set on the bottom or at a certain distance above it and kept stationary by anchors or weights on both ends. Gill nets are of special interest for artisanal fishers because it is a low-cost fishery. The second picture is what we call drift gill nets. So, drift gill nets is allowed to drift along with the water current. The one end of net either get attached with both or both the ends get marked with buoys or any floating objects. So, meaning it consists of a string of gill nets kept more or less vertical by floats on the upper line or head rope and weights on the lower line or ground rope. Sometimes the ground rope is without weights, drifting with the current in general near the surface or in mid-water. The third picture is the encircling gear. So, encircling gear, it is also a long wall of webbing which used to encircle the fish by some nets. So, these are gill nets set vertical in shallow waters, encircling fish. After the fish has been encircled by the net, noise or other means are used to force them to gill or entangle themselves in the netting. It is a technology commonly used by groups of small-scale fishermen or women. So the next we'll be discussing about seine nets. Seine net is a very long net with or without bag in the center, which set either from the shore or from a boat for surrounding a certain area and is operated with two long ropes fixed to its end for hauling and herding the fish. Sea nets has two characteristics. So it is double stick net and genuine sea net. So first we will be discussing about the first picture, the double stick net. These nets are beamed bag-like structure gets tied between two sticks, most commonly used in river. This net get encircled net river water current and then get lifted up from water by which fish get caught. So as you can see in the first picture, the double stick net, there are two persons that are holding that net. It is made of bamboo, and then the net, they just lift it from the water and then they get caught the fishes. Then we will talk about the second and third picture, the beach sea net and the boat sea nets. So these are the two types of gear that are distinguished in the category of sea nets. So genuine sea net, it includes beach scene and the boat scene. So because beach scene get operated from the shore in shallow water area, beach scene may or may not have bag-like structure at the sea. Boat scene also get operated in shore area but deeper than beach scene. So boat scene get operated by boat only. So therefore, these two types of gear are the nets that are generally conical shape, mostly without flakes or wings. It consists of an 8 to 10 long with long wing on each side. The wings are 30 to 50 meter long, having a size towards the blind end of bag. The net is carried by two boats to the fishing area, where the boats move in opposite direction, paying the nets in a semicircle. The ropes attached to the wing are tied to the boats. So that's the sea nets.
Letter D. Filter net. A filter net is a stationary fishing gear that is primarily made of posts and netting panels that form a conical bag. The mouth of the filter net is set facing the current flow. At the farthest end of the net bag is the code end where fish is trapped and ultimately caught. Success of fishing operation is highly dependent on tidal cycles. Filter nets targets species that are carried by tidal currents. Dominant catch includes shrimps, suggested shrimps, crabs, fish, and other invertebrates. There are two types of filter nets. One is winged net or saluran. A saluran net is mouth preceded by a paired row of bamboos that serve as wings. It is attached to the main bamboo post, locally called tularok. The other one is the non-winged type or tangab. A tangab is often constructed in waters that are about 10 meters deep. Since fishing operations is dependent on tidal currents, this gear is situated in areas where tidal currents is stronger. Letter E. Pike net. A pike net consists of cylindrical or cone-shaped netting bags mounted on rings or other rigid structures. It has wings or leaders which guide the fish towards the entrance of the bags. These nets are fixed on the bottom of the anchors, ballast, or stakes. The fish enters voluntarily but is hampered from coming out. Fishermen visit traps every day, collecting only the captures and leaving the gear set in the same place for several days. This net may be used separately or in groups. Next is the hoop net. Hoop net is one of the most common stationary nets used in commercial fishing. It is a tubular-shaped net with a series of hoops, 7 per net, tapered and spaced along the length of the net to keep it open. Next is the pelagic trawls. referred to as mid-water trolling, which uses a cone-shaped net that, in contrast to bottom trolling, is hauled through the water at a higher ocean depth.
Next is a bottom troll. It is conical shaped net kept down over the bottom. The mouth of the net is kept open either by beam, other board, or two boats pulling apart. Bottom trolling is a method of fishing that involves dragging heavy-weighted nets across the seafloor in an effort to catch the fish. It's a favored method by commercial fishing companies because it can catch large quantities of product in one go. So trolling is a method of fishing that involves pulling a fishing net through the water behind one or more boats. So the next is porcines. A porcine is a large wall of netting deployed around an entire area of group of fish. A seine has floats along the top line with a lead line threaded through rings along the bottom. Once a group of fish is located, a skiff encircles the group with the net. And then, when porous line gets pulled, the net gets closed from bottom side and prevent the fish from escaping. It can be operated either from single or two boats. Mostly for single boat operations, skiff gets used. So porcines fishing is known to be the safest fishing methods for protecting the dolphins. And last is pots and traps. So pots and traps are deployed on the seabed for around 24 hours before being hauled aboard a boat for harvesting and rebaiting. So although they can be laid out individually, they are more commonly laid out in strings with a number of traps attached to a long rope. So stationary traps or pots, typically made from wood, wire netting, or plastic, are used to catch crustaceans such as lobster and crabs. Though the size and shape of traps may vary, all feature a cone-shaped entrance tunnel through which a crab or lobster is enticed with bite, but cannot escape though.